Do we all remember a few months ago when I made this video? Well, look what happened! It's here, and it's great. We have the Oblivion Remaster. It was at first just a rumor, then there was leaks for years, and then suddenly there was a bunch of leaks, and then it released. And finally it's out, and apparently 2 million copies have sold. And there's been 4 million players. I'm assuming through Game Pass or something like that. And I, for one, am really enjoying the game. So, as you guys know, I love the Elder Scrolls, and I wanted to talk about Oblivion today, my experience with the remaster. I haven't really made any videos since it came out because I've just been enjoying playing the game. But I wanted to make a video just sharing essentially what my thoughts are on the Oblivion Remaster so far, some issues I've been having with it, and just generally how I think it plays compared to the original. Within this video, I've also got a few tips on how you can help the game run a bit more quickly because I've been having some performance issues with this game despite the fact I'm enjoying it, and I'm going to get into all that later in the video. But first of all, I just realized something. You're not subscribed yet, are you? I knew it! You just watch these videos, you wait for it to come up on your recommended, and then you watch the video, which, thank you for doing that. But, you know, I've heard that people that subscribe, well, they really love the Elder Scrolls, and they want to see more content about it or something like that. You know, I don't want to be a bit of an adoring fan here, but maybe if you subscribe to this channel, I might just follow you around, and, you know, I'll give you guys some help with whatever you need to do with the Elder Scrolls, and whatever other games you like, and it would be great, you know, just something like that. I mean, I'd love to try and do that and see how it goes, and maybe you can just... Yeah, okay, I'm going to stop. Have you done it yet? Okay, cool. Thanks for subscribing. Welcome to the Rangers. You're all Rangers now. You're part of the channel. We're in it. Let's get going with the video. So, to begin, my progression so far. So far, to be honest, I've been quite busy with stuff I have to do in real life, but I've been making time every single day to play the game, and so far, I have essentially finished the whole arena questline, which is really fun, and I always feel bad having to kill Agronak at the end. I don't like doing that, especially because I wanted to do his quest this time, and that means that he essentially, I can't say it because of YouTube, but let's just say he does not want to continue being in Tamriel, and I decided to put him out of his supposed misery because it's all I could do to be the Grand Champion.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
I also reached Cloud Ruler Temple, and I think it's really cool. I love seeing the locations, it's great, very fun. I'm going to talk about that, but that's essentially how far I've got so far in Oblivion Remastered. I've also just been traveling around, trying out little dungeons, changing the settings of the game, which surprisingly takes a lot of time when you're having a lot of issues. And just trying to play it as best I can. It's very fun, really enjoying it. So the first issue I've been having, which a lot of players have been experiencing that aren't on console or very high-end PCs, is the lag. This game is incredibly laggy. I don't know if it's because they're mixing it with the Oblivion engine and then also running the graphics in Unreal. I'm not exactly sure why it's so laggy, but I will admit my graphics card is a little bit outdated now. It's a 1080 Ti, which is still decent. I can run The Witcher 3 at 4K with pretty decent settings with the rest of my specs. I'll put them on screen now if you guys want to know. But I'm trying to play Oblivion 4K. The graphics are currently, you can see my settings on here. Essentially everything is on medium, but it's very, very hard to run this game. When I'm inside, I can get about almost sort of 30 FPS, 28, 29, depends what I'm doing. When I'm outside, it goes down to about 15, something like that. At first, very jarring to get used to. I'm now sort of used to it, to be completely honest, and it does add a bit to the jank. I'd love to upgrade my system, but that's essentially how the game is running for me at the moment. And a lot of you might be thinking, wow, on a 1080 Ti, you're managing to get it to run at all? Yes, I found this amazing Reddit post, which has I believe it's an engine.ini file, and if you download that, put it on the game, you adjust some of your other settings, you can get this game to run pretty decently, and I'm playing it on 4K, so not too bad to be honest. I also used NVIDIA optimization to try and sort some of my settings out, but then I adjusted it myself because it was a little bit off. For example, you can see that I had Lumina RT set to off, then I turned off the other setting to low. I just left it where it was initially because I thought, well, I've turned it off, and that actually gave me an extra 5 FPS or so that's actually quite useful. To be honest, all the footage you're seeing now, most likely I've used some sort of AI software to increase the frame rate because I don't like uploading videos where it looks sort of terrible, but I'll be putting some of the original footage as well, just so you guys can see the sort of lag I'm dealing with. I'm still really enjoying the game. 30 FPS is playable for me, inside at least, but I would love for Virtuos Studios or Bethesda to try and get some sort of hotfix for this, or just decrease some of these settings that are obviously affecting performance so much. Next, new graphics and locations. So what I would say for now, guys, the new graphics are very enjoyable. Although I've had to turn down the settings quite significantly, it obviously looks a lot better in regard to the quality than the original Oblivion. Of course, the original Oblivion has its charm and graphics are sort of subjective, but you could say it is technically better, and I've noticed a couple little things like HDT on the armor, which is really nice, and just generally seeing Cyrodiil in this new light is very, very cool. I know there's a lot of mods that have come out to make it look more like the original game, but just essentially for this video I wanted to try and do everything vanilla, and then maybe I'll put some mods on, God, when I can manage to get my hands on a better graphics card. I have a couple memories from the locations, obviously just going on my horse across the plains of Cyrodiil. Cloud Ruler Temple was great, the Imperial City, and actually one location in particular stood out to me, which was Bruma, because when the hour hit I realized the bell went off. And I feel like that's something I have not picked up on in the past. I don't know how I have not picked up on it in the past. I guess I've just never been there when the hours ticked, or I've just let it fade into the background, but I thought that was very, very cool, and just walking around, seeing in nighttime, seeing all the different environments, very fun. I really like the new locations with the new graphics. Difficulty. I changed Adept to Expert for difficulty, and I played a lot of the game with Expert, and it was really hard, and I don't know why it was so hard. I was going through Kvatch and the Gates of Oblivion, and I did it pretty early on to avoid some kind of scaling issues I've heard about. Still really hard. I managed to get through most of that. I think, actually, now I think about it, I think I got basically to the end, then I put it back to Adept, and then since then I've basically been playing with Adept. I tried to do the first few arena fights on Expert, but it was just really like tedious. It goes from like not really that difficult at all. Adept, to be honest, is too easy, but Expert is just not enjoyable for me. I typically play games on higher difficulties because I think it's fun, but for something like Oblivion, I just wanted to sit on the game, relax, play through it, enjoy a bit of combat, just enjoy playing it. And the best difficulty I can find for me is Adept, because Expert is too much. I'm sure there'll be mods to fix this, but yet again, I think Bethesda and Virtuos Studios have a great opportunity here to actually implement some of these changes into the remaster, which is what I think a remaster should have. They should update it so these difficulties are a little bit more balanced, I think, and that would just make the game more enjoyable for people. And one extra point is, on Expert, I was using my bow a lot, and I think using a sword, you essentially would always need a shield to survive, and you need to spec into very particular stats to even manage to play the game in that way, if you're using traditional weapons, not magic or something like that. It very much seems to box you in if you want to go for those higher difficulties, so I don't want to do that, and I think Adept is fine for me. I'd like to know what you guys think. I actually did a poll on this because I was very curious. I was playing the game and I sat down and I thought, wow, the difficulty between Adept and Expert is insane. I forgot about this with Oblivion. I wonder which difficulties people are typically playing. And as you can see from this chart, Adept pretty much won. And by a pretty significant margin. It got 78% of the vote, had about 230 votes, so a fairly substantial survey, I'd say, for this sort of game. Expert got about 10%, Master was 5%, Apprentice was 7%. So Master is obviously the lowest tier, but Adept, I was expecting it, because after I switched to Expert, I thought there's no way the majority of players are going to be sat playing on this unless they just want to have a very specific build that is able to get through this difficulty. Next up, mechanics. So lockpicking in general, I've just got to bring up this point here, could do with a slight revamp in my opinion. I know it's the original Oblivion lockpicking and it has its charm, which I do agree with, but I just think that it's a remaster. I wish they had made it slightly better because it is incredibly confusing without sort of doing sort of, I don't want to say cheaty methods, but you can do certain methods to get the lock picking. I, for one, simply try and make the pick go up until it goes more slowly, and then as soon as it hits the top, I try and click it. But to be honest, it does seem a little RNG to me. I've tried following methods where you listen to it and where you listen to the clicks get to a certain frequency. I just think, to be honest, I think it's slightly too hard for what should be a more chill game. I think it should change with the difficulty of the game, or you should be able to adjust the lockpicking difficulty in the game if you want it really hard. I think that you go through so many lockpicks, and to buy lockpicks is incredibly difficult. You have to buy it essentially from Shady Sam, or you have to join the Thieves Guild, or you have to search for them or find them off bandits, stuff like that. It's not an easy thing to get, and you just go through so many. I don't think you can become an expert at lockpicking. Maybe you can get pretty good at it. I just think for the general player, it's too much. In regard to the combat, I do actually quite enjoy it. I know a lot of people have been criticizing parts of it, but I like the fact that when I play it, especially in third person, it really reminds me of some of the earlier Dark Souls games, like Demon Souls. Of course, it's not nearly as advanced as that in regard to the rolling and that sort of thing, but I remembered when I was fighting some wolves in Demon Souls, and I was fighting wolves in Oblivion, I felt like it's slightly similar to me. It's the way you can sort of move around and attack. I know that it's definitely not the same as Dark Souls. It's incredibly different. The bosses are nowhere near, all that sort of stuff. But for me, I don't know why it gave me that impression slightly, especially with the sprinting. And just in regard to sprinting, I love that change. I'm so happy that's on there. A lot of people are going to disagree with me with that because they think that it should be exactly like the original game. I'd say you've got the original game, and if you hate sprinting, just don't sprint. But I think that I like that mechanic. I'm happy it's in the game. And one more mechanic I wish they would provide a slight change for or fix, or something that I wouldn't have to get a mod for or go into my game settings outside of the game, as in the INI documents and stuff like that, and adjust it. I want them to remove the nameplates on horses, for example. Very annoying when I'm going on my horse and I want to experience the immersion and its nameplate is flashing up every 10 seconds when the horse slightly goes in front of my cursor. I don't like that. It's unnecessary. I think it should be off, or you can turn it off. But all in all, I like the mechanics. It feels like Oblivion. I think with a few minor adjustments, it could be perfect for what we need in the game. Bugs and general gameplay fixes. So this does link into the previous point, but I wanted to talk about actual bugs I have experienced so far. Surprisingly, there's been relatively few. I did have a bug as soon as I started the game. I was in the Imperial Dungeon. I went into third person. The Emperor talked to me. And then as soon as he left, my character could not move. I would go in and out of first person, just frozen. So I had to restart and then make sure that when the Emperor talked to me, I was in first person, and then it was fine. I mean, what can I say? It's Oblivion that's been remastered. You're going to expect something like that. I've also been having some issues with just general things like enemies stuck in assets. There was a skeleton that was stuck in an asset, and then I went into a room, and then suddenly it was able to follow me and it attacked me, and I was a bit confused about that, but you're going to expect stuff like that in this kind of game. All in all, though, relatively few bugs in my experience from what I've seen. There has been some other weird stuff, like I was having a very annoying issue where I was essentially going into a chapel and I was trying to steal items to... Basically, I was trying to get a hood for my character. So I would go into this chapel, steal all the items, leave for 3 days, come back, steal all the items, leave for 3 days until it spawned. And I had an issue, and I remembered this. This is in the base game of Oblivion as well, and I really hope they'd fixed it, but they haven't. And it's where you drop your items and they do not despawn, and they will essentially just stay there permanently. And the other thing is, because these items are stolen, unless you join the Thieves Guild, it's very hard to get rid of them. You have to use console commands, or you have to find a particular, like a chest or something in a very particular area that you're able to store stuff in that will auto-cycle it out of the game. Otherwise, if you drop it, and my carry weight was over, so I had to drop it, it will essentially stay there the entire game, and when you're loading into cells and stuff like that, it will be retaining this information and making it slightly laggier from what I understand. So I had to deal with all that. It was very, very annoying, and essentially the way I've done it is because I didn't want to use console commands because I just had so much stuff. I just went into a house kind of far away, I left it in there. The game seems to be okay, but I don't think it's ever going to go. And also, when I was going in and out this chapel, I noticed that the characters started spawning very weirdly. They would be sleeping on the floor in the middle of the building, they would be floating up, that sort of thing. It's expected in Bethesda games and I suppose Virtuos Studios games, and they have used the Oblivion engine as the brain for the game, so it makes sense that these bugs would still exist, but I just wish they had taken a bit of time to fix a couple of these things and just made it a little bit more polished in that regard. I hope they can make updates for this in the future and just improve that. I know that this is Oblivion and you're expecting these bugs, and they do keep a lot of the charm, but I just think a couple of these things, these quality of life improvements, would just make the game a better experience for everybody. And I do not think this should just be modded on. I think it should just be part of the game. I hope they could fix this stuff, and that would be great, because I'm really enjoying the game in general. So, to conclude, I would say playing the Oblivion Remaster is a really fun experience. I've been quite busy with stuff at the moment, and I love just having a couple hours in the evening and just enjoying the game. Going around, doing quests that I remember, experiencing areas I remember, and just feeling like, wow, look at my character, it looks cool, new graphics, I'm on a horse, I'm going around the Imperial City, all the characters are updated. It's a novel, fun experience for people that have played Oblivion before, and it's a great experience for people that have maybe just played Skyrim and then come to Oblivion for the first time, and they get to see all these areas, and it's this weird feeling because you can feel the game is older, but at the same time, it feels newer than Skyrim because of the graphics. It's an odd one, but it's great. So I'm going to continue to play the game. I'm really enjoying it. As I said, this is a game that I really enjoy. I love the Elder Scrolls series. This is not some hype train I'm hopping on just thinking, oh yeah, Oblivion, time to make videos about it. I really just think, I love the Elder Scrolls, I love this series, this is a game I'm going to be playing for years to come. I want to share my thoughts on it in future videos, and I really want to hear what you guys think. How are you enjoying Oblivion? What are you guys doing? How does it compare to your experiences playing it in the past? Take off the nostalgia goggles as best you can. What is the experience like? How does it compare to when you first played it? Do you think it's fun? Actually, keep the nostalgia goggles on. I want to know what you think as someone coming back to it and just experiencing it. I want your honest, raw thoughts about it. And one thing I've got to mention, because it is so true, I am still excited for Oblivion, and I think we should all collectively thank them for getting this remaster made. Let's be honest, guys, and I know this is one of those assumptions we don't actually know. To me, it is crystal clear this would not have happened without the development of Oblivion, because Oblivion was being developed for a long time. They announced, was it a year ago or 2 years ago, this was the release year, and then, oh, Shadow Drop Oblivion Remaster. I'm like, they didn't do Morrowind, they didn't do Daggerfall, they didn't do any of the previous Elder Scrolls. They happened to just think, Oblivion, that's the one we need to remaster. It's like, is that right? It's obvious why it was the case, and I'm not faulting Bethesda for it, by the way, because it's their game, and if they think, look, we don't want to kill this mod, we think it's great, but we also need to benefit off this project. If this project comes out first and then we make our own remaster, we could lose money from that, and that's not great. So look, let's make this remaster and then also allow them to keep their mod. So we make the remaster, we get as much money as we possibly can from that, and then they can make their own mod and they can enjoy that too. I know they sent the dev team keys, so I really appreciate Bethesda for what they've done there. I think, to be honest, the best solution I could think of. We got to have an Oblivion remaster, and we'll get to essentially play Oblivion in Skyrim with a bunch of amazing assets they've made. So we do really have two cakes, as the dev team have said. But that is it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe for more. I'm going to be talking about other games than just the Elder Scrolls. Of course, I'm going to be covering the Dawnwalker series. Very excited for that. Any other fantasy games that come out that I'm particularly interested in, I'll also be covering. So subscribe for that. Let me know what sort of videos you'd like to see. Who knows, maybe I'll start dabbling into the Elder Scrolls lore a bit, as I love that as well. And there'll definitely be more Elder Scrolls Online videos coming out as well. Still playing that game. So thank you for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe for more videos, like the video to support it, and I'll see you on the next video. Good luck on your adventures, everyone.